is in our followers. The outcomes from and the impact from the money that we raised, we'll be able to fund more programming, which will just benefit the community. It'll help us pay for things like student matinees, helping offset some of the costs for seniors, which could be a barrier to the arts. We also had increased artist involvement, so everything from like our signage and just like branding, everything was done with partnership with local artists. We had more people engaged this year. I think everyone who attended either bid on something, donated money, raised a paddle at some point. So definitely had more engagement. And I think just with the opening of the Performing Arts Center, we definitely had room for stronger connections, and everybody was like very excited. Our most popular auction item was a year of tickets at the Performing Arts Center. So I think that was great. It went so well that we had to do a second round. And that's it. Thank you to our the district board members, the Garden County Committee, and all of the staff and volunteers, especially Sean and his crew. Couldn't do it without them. And thanks to all of our sponsors and donors. Excited for next year's.
Thank you so much.
Nice job.
Does anybody have any questions for Cass? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful event. Thank you.
Yeah, it was. Wonderful. And then we have an update, 90-day assessment by our new district administrator.
Absolutely. This is, I committed to y'all and started that I'd give you a 90-day assessment. And tonight, I wanted to just give you a high-level preview of some of the key themes that you can anticipate in the 90-day report and some of the findings. I just want to ensure total transparency, make sure that you're not surprised at the end of the day. If things, I find them, I'm going to let you know along the way, and then we'll, I think it'll all go better with the final report. So one of the things that is not a surprise to you is that we need to be very intentional and deliberate in growing our earned revenue to cultivate a more sustainable non-tax partnerships. And we have a really, I think, an incredible opportunity here to accelerate and to the implementation of a philanthropy program. We've got the bones of it, we've got the policy written, and we've had several meetings with our foundation over the last week or so, but we're going to be focusing a lot on planned giving. You saw an email, or if you haven't, you'll see an email I sent out today to all of you and to the foundation and to some community members with a donate button. But there'll also be inclusion of working with community members to have planned gifts in wills in other ways to give to the park district. You asked me to look at cost recovery. I started to dig into the cost recovery numbers, and some of the numbers were not making a lot of sense to me. And as we dug in a little bit more, we found out that former administrator did cancel the specialized cost recovery model several years ago. So it doesn't exist right now. In short, what the park district had and kept was the engine that runs the daily rec shop, basically the registrations, the bookings, the payments, but you lost the specialized dashboard that mathematically calculates and proves the costs that are recovered and the fiscal that you would need for fiscal sustainability audits. Now, I have met with talked with 110%, which was the company that was doing this, and they sent me some of our own information, shared with staff, and we're in the process of recreating, rebuilding cost recovery process. So we're going to continue that, but I wanted to let you know that it does not, we're not fully measuring the recovery of our costs today. Next, we've got some significant capital needs that I think we need to address. Currently, we're looking at more than $14 million in estimated deferred maintenance backlog, paired with approximately $20 million in proposed needs, future needs, if you will. And several of the immediate operational needs are Phoenix Park irrigation. Right now, I think Phoenix Park is especially in poor condition. Its main lines, controllers, and pumps are all well past their expected operational lifespan, so they need to be fixed. Also, Miller Park, the pathway there that goes through the park, we're facing a community safety hazard, I guess, with the squirrels that have burrowed underneath the bridge there. They're creating a slip or trip fall hazard. So the erosion that's going on there. And then finally, across the district, our parking lots are crumbling in many areas. Pavement failures, deep potholes, and left unaddressed, I think this threatens to eventually limit community access to these parking lots. Sounds bad, but it creates I think a clear baseline from which we could build. And my thought here is, well, what I'm going to be recommending is that we cancel the evaluation process on these proposals for the consultant to do the master plan. The costs were coming in anywhere from $150,000 to $290,000 on these master plans. And what I'd like to do is bring it in-house. I've done these things before. We're going to, we've named Sean Ventura as our project manager for this. Sean's going to manage it. We're partnering with a community member, and we're going to run this like any other project, scope, schedule, cost. We're going to lay out the milestones, lay out the tasks, and we're going to be able to save some of this money. We're going to be able to develop, do some professional development with staff to do this. And we're still going to do all the normal steps of envisioning community outreach, using surveys, using focus groups, all of those things. We'll continue to do them in one way or the other. And what I mean by that is we've got some creative ideas to either do the focus group in your normal way where people come in, or to do it digitally or remotely. We've got some plans for that. So that's at a high level what I wanted to share with you tonight, some of the findings that you'll see in the report, and happy to take any questions.
Do you want to ask anything? Questions or comments?
Well, it does sound like we need to take another good look at our existing capital program and scrutinize that pretty carefully and maybe come up with different priorities.
Absolutely. And we're definitely will be prepared to have that conversation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, So now we'll move on to audience and public comment on anything that's not on the agenda. So if there's anything that anybody wishes to speak about that's not on the agenda, you have the opportunity to do so now. Have 3 minutes. Does anybody in person or online wish to speak on a non-agendized item? No. Okay, then we'll move out of public comment and we'll move into our consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the
I have a
consent?
question on the consent calendar. The last item is a resolution. It needs a vote, and I was kind of surprised that it was included under the consent calendar unless it's been dealt with at the meeting I missed. This is
Surplus.
the
Yeah, Sean.
That very briefly, hopefully very briefly, but we can answer any questions. Good evening, Sean, I'm the Parks and Facilities Manager. This was an item that has come before the board in 2023, the sale of the surplus property. It was voted on and approved by the board. At the time, we did not make a resolution. And as part of the process to finalize, we're just kind of trying to update that, get a resolution because it will be necessary for part of the process in dealing with the neighbors' trusts for changing their property lines. They believe they'll need a resolution, and seeing as how this was already approved by the full board of directors, we figured just send it through consent to just make it formal.
So when it is signed and the directors that have voted on it, there's an enumeration of the vote. Will that be from the past then?
Can we make that happen?
Or should we just,
Acceptable?
or should we just
We can do that.
vote on it tonight?
Well, it's not, it's,
What are we selling it for?
I don't think we're selling it.
We are.
No, we are selling.
Yeah.
it. Oh, we're selling.
It's basically a lot line adjustment because
I
of
don't
How
remember,
much?
but I don't remember. the
15
monetary.
feet.
Well,
No,
the
how much
situation
money?
is
Oh.
that it's really neither practical nor economical to integrate this particular parcel into the active park. It would rid the district of any future maintenance costs, weed abatement, type things. Any general liability with the property, and staff has begun discussions with the 2 adjacent single-family homeowners just to the north that are interested in purchasing the property.
Yeah. I'm familiar with all that, but what are we selling it for?
We had an independent valuation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it was a free.
$6 a square foot, I believe, is what we're,
So about 30 grand, the 5,000 square feet?
it's less than 5,000.
29.
Yeah, 29. And they, all through this process, there's been bills incurred with permitting and going to the county for approvals and the like. That is all being borne by the neighbors as well.
So my question is only on the actual execution of that resolution. You consider it already executed then and can be included?
So roughly
Okay.
17 grand-ish is what the
Roughly,
district
yes.
will be getting.
Yeah.
I think it makes total sense.
Well, yeah, we voted on.
Yeah.
We all voted in favor of it.
Yeah.
Everybody on this board.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. so.
Yeah.
Public comment.
Oh,
We have the-
my apologies.
Hi.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah.
I'm Tanya. I live in the Gum Ranch neighborhood. My questions were really, there was discussion at one time that we would be building a walkway all around the park. That was a future consideration. Would extending their property out the 15 and the 19 feet impact that plan?
No.
No.
So
No, okay.
that is still part of our long-term planning for that park.
Okay, and then the other question I had was in regards to liability. Since the creek is eroding and it's getting further and further closer to those homes' property, is there any liability, especially as trees start to fall, and aren't they gonna be responsible for that?
There's always liability when we have trees and water features near houses. We
Yeah.
do regularly trim those trees up. All of the trees adjacent to those properties currently, if they came down, they would probably hit the front of their property lines, not just the new property that we're selling them to. And the creek is already 5 feet away from their western property line over there too, so we're not creating any new problems, it's just. We're eliminating some maintenance space and giving them a buffer to the proposed pathway.
Then that's already been evaluated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why did they want land?
Can we talk about it after the meeting?
So it's good to include it in the consent calendar then? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Excellent, so let's move on to old business. 7.1, discussion of the board and staff engagement event.
Okay.
They all different.
I have two,
I think we have the library first. Is that
not
right?
on mine,
No?
no.
Okay, so they get together, the staff engagement event.
Hmm.
So, last time, if I recall correctly, y'all approved, the board approved us to do this and said come back with plans. And our goal is to bring our district staff and the board together in a less rigid than what was originally planned, more of a relaxed atmosphere to build rapport, to strengthen working relationships, allow y'all to have conversation, foster a unified team culture. That's really is what we're planning. And I wanted to use this also to take a moment to formally recognize some of the hard work of staff. Use this as a recognition event. And our thought is that we would hold the event at a local restaurant, Smoky Oaks Barbecue, right here in Fair Oaks. And it would give us time to have some food, mingle. We would do some brief icebreakers and staff appreciation, and no formal district business presentations. So that way you stay clear of the Brown Act. And the way we're going to completely stay clear of the Brown Act is that it allows you to boards to meet if it's purely a social or ceremonial occasion. And there just won't be any discussion of policy decisions or those types of things. No things that you would be voting on those. But otherwise, that's our plan, is to do it on a date like that. And what I wanted to find out from y'all is, are there any particular dates that just don't work for you? I mean, we could do it offline too.
Yeah, I feel like that might be a good email.
Email, yeah.
I think, Aaron, it sounds like a good plan. I do wonder, is there a reason we didn't think of doing it outside in one of our beautiful, in our beautiful village park in an evening?
We did consider that. We thought of doing it in a park and doing it like a barbecue. If that was one of our options, and still could happen. But
That feels like a nice informal, relaxed atmosphere. I mean, I would go more with what the staff likes. I love the idea of a barbecue. That feels informal and
Yeah.
congenial, but
Yeah. Or even something like in the amphitheater, the black box.
Yeah,
just that
it'd
new
be-
area
that would be
just
nice.
completed.
I love that too.
I would like it to be in an environment where nobody has to. So like no staff are making food,
Right.
or you know what I mean, like it needs to be an environment.
Oh,
So,
for
like,
sure.
So as long as.
We brought food and,
If we want
Yeah.
to work with some of the arts and we have them just cater it,
yeah.
we want them to bring it over. I mean,
Yeah.
I like
I like it
that both of
better.
you have there, yeah, it's a little more homey to do it in one of our
That's
facilities.
yeah, just Smoky Oaks is sort of a tough location to do. They get that back room, and then they got the bar.
Well, and it just,
It's
I don't know,
It's hard
I
to
feel
interact in a commercial
to
situation.
interact too. think we can be a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
In our space, our people.
I love the idea, I mean, yeah, it's
Good.
great.
Okay, then we'll make some adjustments, but that's what we'll do, is, we'll send you some emails and try to, nail down a date here.
Great talk.
Great.
Perfect.
Well, we can now move to the discussion possible action regarding the old library renovation fund transfer request.
Got a couple of, Sean, if you don't mind, I'll start off on that. We're, the staff report, you've got a staff report in front of you. But, want to point out a few things here. We're actually saving money compared to, with this plan, we're actually saving money compared to our original plan. We originally budgeted $191,400 for this project. And because we're stripping out all the minor interior renovations and those types of things, utilizing internal maintenance, our total adjusted project cost of $119,906, so about $120,000. And this means we're closing the project $71,000 under the original budget. And we're completely protecting the general fund. We're not going to spend anything out of the general fund here. We're going to spend it entirely, the $43,874.20 is going to come from Parkland dedicated in lieu fees. General operating funds are going to be completely untouched. Also, if we sell this building today, just, go out and sell it, we either force staff that are working in there, we've got a couple staff that are in there, to, we force them into permanently remote status, slowing down any operational response time, or we're forced to lease some type of commercial space for them to work out of. And so our thought here is that the master plan is our logical decision point here. Selling this 110-year-old building in the heart of Fair Oaks without public input, I think it invites some public pushback possibly. And so we're recommending, staff is recommending that we complete these repairs, both to halt the mold degradation that's going on there, using the building for immediate operational needs, and formally putting its long-term future into the hands of the community during the upcoming master plan update. And I think that's the long and the short of it.
What is I know we were talking about a roof, HVAC, mold, what else is associated with that? 119 grand, John.
That's currently the only cost. We spent a little bit because the roof is already completed. There was some lead paint mitigation that we had to do as part of that, which was about 10K. And then the multi-headed mini split system for the replacement HVAC and the mold remediation was taken up the rest of that 40K.
And I would assume we're pulling new permits for these new renovations, and that doesn't trigger. I'm guessing if the roof didn't trigger, it doesn't trigger any kind of ADA responsibility as far as updating the buildings. Oh, okay.
Half of this 43,000 is 20,000 something for the HVAC system, which,
We were looking at about 25. I have to go back to my numbers.
yeah, so the bulk of this is to finish that mechanical stuff, which I think is great because I spent more than that on my house HVAC.
Basically, if you sell it right now, you're gonna have to sell it at a reduced amount. So if we make these updates to it, you're able to sell it at a better price.
I think I would be careful with that statement because that's conjecture. We haven't had anyone. I don't think that's a statement that can actually be made without talking to a real estate professional. I'm not one. I mean, I don't have my license, okay, and so. That's a possibility, but we don't know what somebody would do with that space. So,
So commercial,
say again.
zone commercial.
That's a question I don't know. Is it commercial
I
zone?
think it's tough for the whole.
It's all SBA zone,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So
that's
it gives
right.
a lot more flexibility to what's
Yeah.
used. The thing that concerns me, and I've shared my concern with you, is kind of like. We could have bulldozed this building and built a new one. We could have taken out the organ to add more floor space. To me, you know, being here 50 years and being deeply involved in the Historical Society, I know what makes Fair Oaks special is these touchstones to the past here. I mean, everything in this village area here has a history of anywhere from 100 to 130 years. And so I want to be really careful. If we do sell it, I want to make sure that it's protected and goes to some community use so it exists. I think to me, it'll take a little longer discussion and with the community as a whole, because I know it'll evoke a lot of strong emotions. I'm not totally against getting rid of the building as long as it remains an integral part of the village. Meanwhile, we spent more on remediation of the salon that we bought and tore down to get rid of the asbestos and other things there. So,
Back then we weren't struggling to pay payroll.
yeah.
Well, and there were, sorry.
Yeah, I'll just go and.
Yeah,
just
please.
go on. I mean, I agree, like, I think we should probably do this stuff. I think there are different assets that I would rather see, like I brought up Bannister Park. Things that aren't being used that we can sell, that cost us money. I think this is more in the heart of the village. I mean, if we can hold on to it, we can hold on to it, but at the end of the day, like, we have to be able to pay our employees. So, but I do agree, like, you know, fixing it up, then, you know, looking at the master plan is probably, in my opinion, the wiser way to go about that building in particular.
So, Linda.
I like the idea of waiting on it, and asking the community, because I do think that with it being in such a central location, I do think it'd be, and also, we all have mixed feelings about it already. I'm sure there's any mixed feelings in the community too, so I'd be curious to hear what other people think. Because it's not just our building, it's everyone's building, right? And so we need to talk about that, I think, as a group. In the meantime, I would like to see these items done though, because I think that if we were to use it, if we continue to use it, we need to have new HVAC. We absolutely need to get rid of the mold. And since we've already put some things into it, I don't think if we're gonna be using the park land, like those fees, the money that we're using, I think is restricted funds, so we couldn't use that money on anything else anyway. We have to use it on property, so I think this would be a good use.
On property though, when it comes to property, is it a physical building or property? Could that be also considered irrigation?
It could be any
I
property.
think irrigation.
Right.
Well,
So-
yeah.
That's where my mind goes. I understand we spent some money. I don't think though that spending some money means we need to spend more money. And when I hear very soberly what Aaron is saying about a huge backlog of items and huge cost, I don't think it financially prudent to be spending money on a building that is being used for a couple staff members compared to spaces that are used by our entire community that we're serving, which Phoenix Park being one of them. And I just think of the money use. I look today on what other spaces in the village around could be rented for our staff needs. And there are several places and based on just the numbers that were posted online would be less for at least a year and a half than the additional cost of the work that we would be doing. I don't think that we would rent that space out. I don't see that really as a feasible thing. I think it would only be for real staff, and I don't see it really serving the community well, frankly. And I just see that we have a lot of costs that we have to take into consideration. I think the district could get more money for it and use that more widely to affect the community than as it stands now. That's my feeling.
I would concede to you this, that I think as part of the master plan, we ought to look at potential disposal of the building.
And I think that.
And I have long been an advocate of disposing of administrative offices in the village, and I know that takes you away from the main facilities here, but you know, there's a lot of us that believe that commercial and restaurant use and stuff like that is a better use of our village space. So I'm not opposed to that idea, but I think, you know, this is kind of the tail end of a renovation project to bring it up to immediate need. And it's given that more than half of it goes into AC and heat, I think it's not a frivolous expenditure. And the other half is it's got a mold problem that needs to be dealt with. And the staff has talked about overseeing and being able to do some of the minor mitigation work. So I think they prepared a pretty good plan.
Right, and I think we're gonna get most of that money back anyway if we eventually sell it, because it needs to be done anyway.
Yeah,
So
staff
the property is worth less now. It might not be worth $120,000 more when it's all done, but it will be worth more. So.
Potentially. I think again, I don't know how true that statement is. Depending on what somebody's doing, but
House that has a brand new HVAC versus a house that needs an HVAC, it's gonna be worth more, don't you think?
well,
House that has-
depending on what they're gonna do with it, not necessarily.
A house that has mold versus a house that has no mold, do you think one's worth more than the other? I mean, if the new buyer's gonna have to come and spend 30 grand on mold abatement,
Well, if maybe they were gonna put up a new structure entirely, you know, if they were to look at the cost could be
Yeah.
put up entirely. But again, I like that. I think we all at least agree that this should be in consideration with the master plan as far as what should be done long-term. And, you know, to Director Carhart's thing, is that in there saying we're selling it only to a specific type of client that the board believes it should stay there, or what, you know, I mean, there's a lot of questions we could do, so.
There's protections that could be put there that it can't be immediately demolished. I mean, back in the 20s, the school kids gave their pennies and Carnegie money came to build that library. That was our first true library in the.
probably costs about like
Thorough.
$8,000 to build that.
That was pretty cheap.
$5,000.
So I would make a motion that we adopt resolution number 071526-02 and 071526-03 to approve the use of $43,874.20 from dedication fees for this old library renovation project. And also that we include the potential of what do you call it? Well, and include this in the master plan evaluation.
Yeah, I would, point of order before that motion is moved, I would like to we didn't open it up to public comment.
Oh, yes.
If anybody wishes to speak on this item here or in virtual land, now's your chance. Anybody here wish to speak on this? Yes, please.
I'm weighing in late in the game. My name is Tracy Bazanza and the community. And just hearing a little bit of discussion that I heard here today, I think that doing the renovations shows that we are being good stewards of the assets that we have. So if we do sell the property, I do agree that there's a little bit of conjecture and assumption being made. But making the repairs, I think, is important, showing that we have transparency and we have integrity and taking care of the things that are care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Elizabeth Williams. So I've heard a couple of these discussions before. And so you're right, Raymond, about basically it depends on who would acquire the property, whether new HVAC is of value to them. And like mold remediation, that depends on a buyer of a particular house as well. I do have a real estate license, but I don't practice currently and I'm not in commercial. I don't have any experience in that. I do recognize the historical aspect though, and I do think that if there was a way to retain the building and renovate it and keep it for, because I saw you at the Historical Society a few weeks ago, and I think that that would be great if we could keep it and, you know, renovate it in a cost-effective sort of manner as well, because the mold remediation and the HVAC, those are expensive things. And that's just like foundational before you start getting into aesthetics and making it more useful, whether it's for our district staff or whoever might use it. So I think you all have valid points. And yeah, I don't know, you know, what, I don't have a recommendation.
Thank you.
Oh, Bannister Park, because I went there after the last monthly meeting.
Uh-huh.
That was I went to all 11 parks the Thursday morning after the last monthly meeting. 6:45 in the morning, Bannister was the only park in the entire district that had anything going on. They were setting up for soccer. So of all 11 parks, the only one that had anything going on was Bannister.
That's a very rare occurrence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone online that wishes to speak? No. Okay. I'm gonna close public comment. So will you make that motion again?
Did you capture what I said?
I have it,
Yeah.
I'll
And-
second it.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Is that it? Okey-dokey. So now we are going to. Do I need to make a motion? Yeah, right, I need to move, so we need to move into a public hearing. To discuss a few resolutions regarding 8.1. Do I have a
I will
motion?
make a motion that we move into a public hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public hearing, who wishes to speak on this?
I will start. So this is the final step in your annual process that you use to determine your assessment district amounts. You've been through the engineer's report, which you've all approved. And then this is the opportunity for the public to come to you and speak on any of these assessments, ask any questions, and give you feedback on any of them. And we have our consultant here online tonight, Brandon from SCI, if you have any questions specifically. Otherwise, it's the opportunity for the public to speak on this.
Great. Before the public speaks, does anybody on the board wish to ask any questions of Brandon? Anything they want to ask?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Brandon, thanks for being with us. Great, so then I know I have two public comments on this, so Miss Williams, we'll start with you.
So I'm Elizabeth Williams. I live in the Gum Ranch Assessment District. I typed up my comments, but I'm gonna give you guys all a hard copy and I'm not gonna read everything. It's really for my notes. This all started for me a year ago with the Messenger Publishing Group with their local newspapers. So I got 2 of these in my driveway. And that's how I found out about 1 year ago, the budget and the budgeting process. And then I started attending these meetings in March this year because I went back and I read about the budget getting involved. So that's why I've been coming here. I've been to 6 meetings now, and including the June 11th special meeting. So you were there, Deanna, before your vacation, the special budget meeting. So I know that the budget pressures that the board is facing, you know, I'm aware of those, and great presentation that you and Mike had prepared for that meeting. Hello, Brandon. We met on Monday. So on Monday of this week, I met with Aaron and Jennifer and Sean and Brandon and Susan from SCI. And so I read the SCI consultant's report, and I have 2 requests of the board for tonight. And Aaron and Jennifer and Sean already know these. So one is creation of more structured financial management for actuals tracking for Gum Ranch landscaping and lighting, beginning July 1st of this year, so 2 weeks ago. And my note here is that information data collected would be used for more accurate budgets in the upcoming fiscal year. So not this one that we're already in, for the 2027-28 fiscal year. And then, and Jennifer suggested this action, I think this was a great idea, creation of an advisory board for Gum Ranch landscape and lighting. And I said members would be restricted to those in Zone B, so the Gum Ranch area, not the Madison Park Place area. And the advisory board can assist this board in data collection, for example, to help substantiate actual park usage. So the Gum Ranch development is now completely sold out. All the properties are gone. They're sold from the developer, from the builder. Therefore, the assessment district is fully funded. So granted, just FYI, and I know you guys wouldn't have known this at the time that you prepared the report. So the number of single family equivalent homes that you guys had in your report was understated. And so the district will actually, as a result of that, the district will actually take in a little more than $5,300 more in taxes in this upcoming fiscal year because of that. It's not necessarily a big deal. So I'm skipping over some of my notes here. I did a little summary table. So this is for you guys to see. And what my summary table compares is the 3 different assessment districts, so Fair Oaks Landscape and Lighting, Phoenix Field, and Gum Ranch. And what I'm comparing is, the dates at which each of those got created, what they cover. And then what I'm most concerned about is the percent of the budget from outside sources. So I like to try to be funny on things. And I say the reason, thank you for smiling, Jennifer, the reason that I started attending these meetings is, to me, it's all about the money for Gum Ranch and the assessment and all that kind of stuff. So when I read the reports, and I read them, for the other 2 assessment districts as well, and I look at what was the recommended percent of the budget from outside sources, well, it was quite big for Fair Oaks and quite big for Phoenix and tiny for Gum Ranch. So I'm going to give you guys this table. I'm not going to read it out right now. And then in May of
Yes,
20.
Williams, we're past 3. I'm gonna give you 30 more seconds.
Sorry. Okay, so the important part is regarding special benefit, general benefit. Can I use her 3 minutes? Can I use your 3 minutes?
So,
Okay. Well, I guess I'm done then.
Thank you.
Brandon, sorry, I can't have.
30 minutes, that's all.
Do you have copies of that for each?
I
board
do, and I've been
members?
coming, this is my 6th meeting, Raymond, my 6th meeting I've attended specifically for public comments tonight.
And we always keep it fair, and we always
Yeah,
have
we
3
always,
minutes
always a
for
fair
everybody.
3 minutes for everybody. We can't.
Disagree with that,
It did go.
because I've attended 6 meetings. Okay. So Tanya, I guess it's your turn.
okay.
I'm sorry that we didn't get these beforehand.
Yeah.
Love to have seen this.
I'm summarizing as I'm reading. I wanted.
I have a question before you start. The assessments, before all the houses were sold, was Elliott Homes paying the assessments on all the vacant land?
You as a board chose not to assess those properties until they began building, and then for the first couple of years, I don't think you assessed. And then Elliot did pay, I think, 1 year.
Did we start getting that commensurate with the number of lots that were sold? As soon as they were sold,
I think all of the properties are assessed, and if they're not occupied, then the builder pays the assessments
we could have done that, but we chose to,
initially.
okay. Thank you.
So, good evening, I'm Tanya, I live in the Gum Ranch neighborhood. The Gum Ranch assessment rate was preliminary approved for the $445. The neighbors, such as myself, would like to be assured, exactly as the report says, that the assessment proceeds will be exclusively used for the improvements within the assessment district. I read the report. It's very difficult reading for someone like me. It seemed like it checked the box for all the legal requirements in a report. But when you talk about total transparency, it was just another cookie cutter report. It looked very similar to the last 7 or 8 reports as I went through the years. There were no updates for actual usage of the park. No pictures of parking that goes on along the park. Our community would really like to know that the money is being spent on the park, and it's just that simple. The report starts off with a 0 from previous years. How can it be 0? The report says that if there are surplus funds, that'll be carried over. If there's a deficit, that will be carried over. There's no mention of the reserves, what reserves we have on hand. It didn't mention the capital improvement projects that I'm sure Sean has a list of that are needed for the park. So the report was lacking, and so I'm going to go back and not repeat what Elizabeth said, but we really need the creation of a structured financial management system to help us have a more fuzzy feel that the money is being spent on the park. Our community has a lot of older individuals. They moved from various areas of Fair Oaks. They're on fixed incomes. We're very active in maintaining the park. We do trash pickups. We do walkthroughs with Sean on a regular basis. We have coordinated with the homeless outreach team. We've done graffiti removal. We want to partner with you to continue to keep that park beautiful. But it's also important that we understand the financials, and I don't understand them. They're so difficult, and that report checks the box for legal requirements, but it's pretty much a cookie cutter from year after year with no current metrics. So thank you for listening, and I hope there'll be some changes so that the neighbors will have full transparency.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Raymond James, can I ask Brandon a question?
Please.
My understanding with all of these assessment districts is that the law or some regulation requires that all the money collected within the boundaries of that assessment district must be spent within that district. They can't be used for other purposes outside of that. And that money rolls over if we don't spend it from year to year. And we can supplement it with our own money, correct?
That is all correct, yes.
Yeah.
Why is it 0 then?
It was my understanding that all the money was spent, and that's why it was.
No, every year it's 0.
Oh, and there were in the. SCI
Yes,
report.
every single year it's 0.
Okay. We do have you looked at, you may have already seen this with Jennifer, but we do have, there's a report that's done every month. That's a separate fund balance report for Gum Ranch. You've seen that, right?
I don't.
It's-
I don't think
It's in
we're
our
trying to
consent,
see
oh,
it.
it's in our consent calendar. So every month, like, for example, I was looking at it right now, like it says, it tells you exactly how much money is in the account. And perhaps the SCI report is missing the carryover amount, which does need to be fixed. So I appreciate you bringing that up. But for example, we have Phoenix Field Landscape, we have a Measure J, we have our Fair Oaks Park District, and then we also have one for Gum Ranch. We also have one for dedication fees. So they look like this, but it shows exactly how much money is in that account. And then it shows, for example, when money is used as well. But I like the idea of doing a more detailed and showing exactly when expenses are exactly for Gum Ranch. I mean, more of a clear reporting on it. I think that's a great idea. So thank you for that.
So there's some line items that are shown for Gum Ranch, but a full financial report on the expenditures and the actuals. So if the SCI report could at least mention what the actuals are year after year, that's more of a basis
Sure.
than coming up with estimates.
Well, it's kind of like your bank account, you know, as you spend the money, the account goes down.
Right.
And if you keep it at the end of the year, it rolls over, but I wanted to clarify maybe with staff, maybe Sean can address this. It's not just capital expenditures within the boundaries. It's also maintenance labor and things like that. So it's the costs associated with that.
Yeah, we do utilize it for irrigation, electricity, landscaping, where they're currently on a very regular basis. Hoping not to burn through all of it, because we're hoping to use those funds for taking those trails across the creek, some unusual perhaps, and perhaps playground replacements in the future as well. But
Yeah.
We're
So I would certainly welcome the idea, you mentioned the idea of having an advisory committee. I don't think it needs to be a formal committee. You can form a group there and address your concerns, your wish list for what should be done there. The problems and bring those to board meetings or bring them directly to staff. I would welcome that because, you know, we shouldn't be thinking what we should add there or what we should do. We need to hear from the residents that use and pay for the facility.
I want to applaud Sean because he gets the brunt of our emails. We make lists and he actually does a walkthrough with us, which is very much appreciated because the visual speaks more when you can see it. So he's been very nice in meeting with us on a regular basis and going through the list of items needed.
Ralph, on the point about the legal requirement for the assessments can only be spent in Gum Ranch, you're right, that's a legal requirement and that's documented in their report anyway. And I've spent a lot of time with Jennifer. She has helped me to get visibility to the actuals going back for several years on Gum Ranch. So I've looked at all that kind of stuff and I'm looking at the report you're talking about, Linda. And thinking about the capital expenditures in future years to make sure there's enough money saved up for, you know, future capital expenses as well. I would describe historically what's been happening for the expense tracking is more informal, okay, for Gum Ranch. How do you know that all the money collected is spent only in Gum Ranch? Well, because you don't have this extremely formal sort of structure, and I'm not saying that's what's needed. And so Aaron and Jennifer heard me, and Sean has heard me before, the context of having more structured sort of financial management.
So I'd like to hear what staff has in response to that. Do we have that kind of information available? It's just a matter of how we present it
It's
to the
fully
public.
out. So we do when we have an expenditure specifically for Gum Ranch, it gets tagged that way in our system. However, as Sean has said, there are things that we purchase for all parks.
Right.
That are coded that way, so we have to go in through the data and pull those out.
So some of it has to be prorated by
Yeah.
parks. And I do want to reiterate, we spend, and we can spend general park district money
Yes.
on the parks there.
Yeah, and I itemized that in the note that I gave you.
if I could just add, what that example Jennifer gave, when we buy things for all parks, we're not using individual funds like the Gum Ranch assessment for that. That's just our general funds. We don't break it out by park because often we'll buy it in bulk and then use it later through the year, which is why we're not using those specialized funds for the entire purchase.
And we're happy to share the data as deeply and cut it as many ways as we can to be as transparent. We recognize it's the public's data. We're happy to cut it.
I remember it was about 10 years ago, this whole topic came up of how we spend assessment monies. And we went through a whole dog and not really dog and pony show, but a whole effort to get this all worked out and transparent and get that information to the board every month. So I
Well,
guess
think that's why we have the fund balance report.
Right.
Right.
I mean, that, we're able to see that.
so maybe a little tweaking to satisfy the community might be helpful.
Sure, and one of the things that we can do that will resolve a lot of the issue is budget directly in the assessment district fund instead of in the general fund. So we will pull those out and put them specifically in the Gum Ranch budget.
Sounds like
Okay.
doing some added things. So,
Thank you.
is there anybody else that want to speak on this agenda item in person or online? No. Okay. Is there a motion?
Whoever
Or
makes
do
a
I need
motion
to
has to
close
read all
public
of this
session?
stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Not necessarily, not necessarily.
I will make the,
We have to make motion to leave public
I'll make a
Hearing,
motion
close the
that
public
we
hearing.
close public hearing.
Oh, we'll do that after we.
I'll second.
Yes.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. So after leaving public hearing, we are looking to have a motion on these assessment districts. Is there a motion?
I will make the motion that we adopt resolution number 07126-04, approving the, which one is that? That's the Parks Maintenance and Recreation Improvement District. Adopt resolution number 07152-6-05, approving the Phoenix Field Landscape and Lighting Assessment District. And adopt resolution number 07152-606, approving the Gum Ranch Landscape and Lighting Assessment District.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Good, we'll move to board and staff reports, go down the line. Director Carhart, anything from you?
Defer me till later,
Well, the one thing I did notice was, like Fair Oaks Park, as you're driving down Madison, like all that grass is dead. Is that on purpose?
There is no irrigation in that area, it dies out every summer.
Does it? Okay.
The
I'm
trees,
just sure if I remembered it, it just looks.
this was there, very shocking.
Yeah, okay.
That's to protect the life of the blue oaks that are there.
Okay. Good man,
I don't have anything tonight, thank you.
nothing from me, so staff, anything from you all?
I've got one thing that hasn't been mentioned, this tree right outside here by the walkway, you'll notice that the leaves are beginning to fall, on it. It has, looks like it, Sean and his team have cut a ring around it to put some, to water. The turf used to go all the way up to it. It looks like during the construction, the roots were cut pretty deeply. And now you've got some basal rot around the tree. There were some termites, ants, bugs eating on the rot down there. And so now you've got the tree shedding its leaves. We've got an arborist out, that Sean's got an arborist that's come out to look at it, trying to save the tree, but it's struggling. So you'll see.
Yes. I'm worried about that tree. I'm also worried about the one to the west of the clubhouse. And in the past recommend some thinning to thin out the top equivalent to the root loss. But that one, I'm very concerned because they cut out about 1/3 of the roots with the retaining walls and pavement there. So both need to be watched by, by certified horticulturist and maybe fed. I think they're both valley oaks, so they both can take some water, but they're gonna take some tender loving care. They're gonna be gone.
That's right. Sean, anything else to add on that?
We are following the arborist recommendation so far. There's no easy way to get any irrigation over to it, so currently we're grabbing some tree bags that we're gonna stake to kind of the exterior of the drip lines to get some long, slow watering going on it. So far, we're just letting the roof layer breathe a little bit and giving it a little bit more water. We're crossing our fingers, we're gonna continue monitoring as well as the one for us.
The good thing about that one is that it doesn't have a lot of pavement and stuff under it. I was ranting and raving the whole time we were doing construction that there was equipment and heavy stuff loaded underneath the drip line of the tree, even though they were required to fence it and stay out of there. But it does have some things going for it. Now, as your arborist suggested, there's a situation where you can deep water by drilling some holes. You put a perforated sleeve there and you water deep down in there. And he does think that watering that tree is important. I can't remember if the lawn went up to it before or not.
I was looking back at old pictures, it did go right up to the trunk of that thing, so it's getting probably, I wanna say 10,000 less gallons a month than it was previously, so. I'm hoping that it's just shock because of the heat and because of the cut roots a little bit.
Yeah,
When we did dig down on the recommendation of the arborist around that roof flare, we are realizing that the grades were much lower previously, so the roof flare was buried a little bit too much.
yeah,
So it might have just been struggling to breathe and needing a little bit of water. Right
yeah.
now, that ground is really compact and dry, so I don't feel we're gonna be capable of digging very well. I'm hoping that with those tree bags, we water slowly over time, and then we can maybe move towards something like that in the future.
Well, good luck, and I'm glad you're on top of that. Chip.
Yes, I just wanted to give you all an update on the board applications that we've received so far. We have received 7. And I believe we have a couple more that are pending. The deadline is this Friday, and once the deadline has hit, I will send you all of the applications.
Great.
You all wanted to see them and rate them, and then we need to talk about a special meeting for the interviews.
For gosh, I lost my train of thought now. Oh, yes, but are they going to have to, if whoever we appoint, are they going to have to also run?
Yes,
In
if they want to stay on the board past November,
They
they
want to stand for. Also, then what happens if they don't run? So then there's now a vacancy. So couldn't then hypothetically,
You'll have to appoint someone.
yeah, so I mean,
Are you thinking like to save the money for the election or like?
I get that. No,
I think both Ray and James and I are on the fence as to whether we will have to run an election in November or not.
well, no, I'm just thinking of somebody who's applying and just knowing, because if we don't though appoint, is it too close to the election though that the board would they appoint, or is it just too close that they would wait to run it and then we would appoint after that? Do you see what I'm saying?
If no one ran,
If we didn't appoint anybody before.
And then nobody ran.
And
you
nobody,
have to appoint someone. If you don't appoint someone, the board of supervisors.
but that was my point. Is it though too close to the election that they wouldn't appoint?
Oh, they would,
Well,
or someone would.
well, but hypothetically, somebody,
Could they do it in that timeline? I don't know. They
Yeah.
would, so we'll see.
If it's anything like their permit process.
yeah, then, no,
We'll have an
well,
appointment by 2028.
Yeah.
okay.
Shot.
It looks like they're having an election no matter what.
No matter. Well. Or no, or they just, we then we appoint after,
So just reappoint another person.
because we appoint the same person.
They can run, and if no one runs against them, their election doesn't happen.
Say
It's
again.
the same way, right, Jennifer? So for example, if we appoint someone and then no one chooses to run in the
Yes.
pool, then that does not go on the ballot. So it's not,
So
it
then
wouldn't
they
be,
just retain the
it
seat.
wouldn't be something
Yeah,
to the
right.
$60,000 fee. or
Yeah,
whatever it is.
okay. I have a sneaking suspicion that we're gonna be running an election period, so.
I need to know as soon as possible. I'm an election supervisor, and if I'm on the ballot, I gotta find a new leader. And
Well, it is open, so Director Carhart, make sure, to go down there.
Yeah, you two are on.
Oh, what's the deadline?
It started on Monday, so July 13th, you can go down.
Okay.
Have-
you.
We
Sure
haven't
you do that.
seen anybody.
Yeah, Rand Jacob failed to do that.
He did, and that's how I got.
Why?
Welcome. District Board of Directors, Nick Davis, and Recreation Manager. I have a couple items. First item is I want to highlight a special event that we had this past week. It's a maybe considered a smaller event, but it has a large impact. That's the Fair of the Ski event that we had. It was 3 days last week, where staff would go out and hide keys throughout our parks. And the community members would then hunt for the keys and hopes to find some find many, some find little, some find none. But the idea is once they find that key, they can take it to the key turn-in day, which is the day of the Kids Big Business Expo, as well as our concert at the park that day. And they had an opportunity to test their keys into locks, and if that opens up that lock, they then get that prize associated with that lock. What's so special about it is this is an event that Sabrina started back in 2020 during the pandemic. It was one of the only ways that we could really get people out in the public, recreating in some fashion within our parks. Because it's complete social distancing, if you do something by yourself in the park. And it has grown tremendously over the years, and it's really neat to hear the people's stories that come up to us with their keys about how they've gone about it. It's a tradition in their family that they've been doing since 2020 for some of them. But it's also neat to hear parents say, it's the only time my kids want to wake up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. And during the summer to get outside and go in the park to hunt for keys. So it gets them off the electronics and doing things active out in the parks. And oftentimes they're exploring new parks they've never been to before, in some of our smaller pocket parks. So it's really kind of neat to hear the stories. And one last story on that is there was this girl that was turning in some keys. She has been doing it since the start of this, so back in 2020. Unfortunately, she has not won anything, but she was telling me that, and I got down to her last key, and sure enough, I opened up the lock, and she finally won. It was probably the best prize we had to do, so it's really kind of a cool thing, cool experience. So kudos to Sabrina and all the Parks Department too, for helping had those keys throughout the entire week. So
Very cool.
Do you replenish those keys as the game goes on, or are they all out there at the beginning?
no, they go out well every day, multiple times throughout the day. If you ever want to hide keys for us, mine for help.
I have found keys before and I've left them right where I saw them. I've seen some over in Gum Ranch Park.
Oh, there you go. Cool. My other item is, so we've been working with Sacramento Department of Transportation a little bit, on the Fair Oaks Mobility and Safety Project. And that's enhancing the roadways and pathways, between two different sections of Fair Oaks. The first section is Fair Oaks Boulevard, between Madison and Winding, and then, Sunset between Fair Oaks Boulevard and Kenneth. And also a portion, running through Miller Park. So SAC DOT has asked for a letter of support so they can help get grant money to make this project come to fruition. So SAC DOT approached us probably, I don't know, 4 months ago, Sean-ish. They met with some staff and community members out at the site and talked about what they're looking to do, and along with some other community members as well. And then they held an outreach meeting on the 30th of last month in the Fair Oaks Performing Arts Center lobby to garner more feedback on the project, what they're looking to do. I do have some visuals. I'm not an expert in this realm of what they're looking to do, but the whole idea is to make safe pathways and streets for families, kids, adults to be able to get to either the schools or the parks or just walking down those avenues. So what they're really looking for, and I know this is not an agendized item, but a letter of support. So if you guys are kind of all in favor of it, and there's not any big pushback, Director Erwin would sign the letter of support. But there are some visuals. If you want to check them out real quick, Ian can throw them up there for us. That's, oh man, it's hard for me to see. That's Sunset and Fair Oaks Boulevard. That's going to be the potential roundabout that they put in at that location. I know that's probably a hot topic with this whole project. I know everyone had their challenges with that intersection. I myself do. So that's one of the big potential improvements, and then you kind of see down Sunset would be just a little bit more access for pedestrian to get through the bike, bicycle or walking. And then moving on to the next slide.
Yeah, jump in on that real quick.
Sure can.
They're also working with local community to try and slow the traffic down on that, so there are some traffic management techniques they're putting in to kind of curve the road a little bit rather than keeping it a straight shot. Not changing the boundaries of the road, but just striping a little bit differently, and it also allows more expanded bike lanes. So
Yeah.
that's perfect. Generous.
It's a wide stretch of pavement for 2 lanes.
Yeah, and then if you just want to switch the last one there. That's going to be Miller Park. So this is a potential pathway through Miller Park to help one, get people into our park safely off of Sunset, but then also a safe and accessible pathway
to get through, potentially over to Early Elementary School. It's a popular drop-off point, a popular connection for kids either coming down Kenneth and or Sunset to go through the park. That would provide them a safer route to do so and a more accessible way. So that's.
That basically just follows the current pathway once you get past the basketball court there, right?
That's correct.
Maybe that can save us some capital
Well,
money on
just-
that problem. So, who are they applying, to for this grant? Is it state or is it SACOG?
I am not familiar with that. I don't believe it's state. Sean, you may know even the early conversations that I were not in. I don't know that off the top of my head. Okay, sorry.
Well, I can't think of a single reason why we wouldn't support. this.
No, I mean, I already signed the letter and sent it back, so.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to find any negatives to any of that. Like,
I'm
God forbid.
100% behind that. I've been
Except
asking for a
the
roundabout.
roundabout that I know people get all freaking wound up about, but I love them.
I think it's.
Yeah,
Well, it's.
there's one at
it's
every
logical.
corner in England.
I just got back from Europe, they're everywhere,
Yeah,
and they work.
Great, thanks, Nick.
much cheaper than signals there too.
Well, much better looking.
Yeah.
I have one very quick update. I just wanted to inform you all that as of June 30th, Sam Reyna, park worker for the last 20 years, has retired from employment with the district. We gave him a very, very small send off last week. Just staff telling embarrassing stories about it. He's still gonna be around. I'm sure he's gonna be coming to a couple of events. We're already trying to get him to come and volunteer for Chicken Festival. But just wanted to let you know that that big change has happened and we're wishing him the best.
And he just retired.
Yes, retired again.
Thank you.
Sooner or later, all of us will.
Okay, Sabrina, anything? Great, okay. Well then, folks, with that, I will adjourn, or I'll ask for a motion to adjourn to our August 20th meeting.
We'll make some look when we adjourn.
I'll second.
Moving seconded, all those in favor? Aye. Bet you gotta have, we gotta get